ago or so. And then Kanye kind of got cold feet. I think it was right after the whole like controversy of the slavery is a state of mind and all this. Yeah. It was right around that time. And Joe Rogan was like, that was the perfect time to talk to Kanye West. And Kanye was like, I'll do it. And then he was like, I won't do it. Yeah, I think I got cold feet because as we saw in this interview, the dude cannot have a conversation with someone that's just a direct conversation about one subject. He's like brain dead. Like if anyone has seen this interview, you'll know what I'm saying, but he can't really stay on topic. He rambles, he brings up random shit. And generally he just comes off like, he's been in this, it's so obvious the bubble he's in, man. It's downright gross. Have you listened to any of the interview yet?
I started watching it, and I initially was like, I can't even do it because in the actual thumbnail of the video clip that's on YouTube, like Kanye is very obviously holding a Yeezy shoe, and I couldn't get past the fact that he hella negotiated that with Joe Rogan before the video clip went up. There's no way he didn't. Because why would he put product placement in one video clip out of all of his fucking video thumbnails? So that was an eye roll to me. I think if this interview had happened 4 years ago, I would have been a lot more interested in it. But these are two dudes that at one point, like, like Joe Rogan used to have a lot of like really interesting guests. Like I liked the podcast as much as the next guy. I was a Kanye fan though. I was, you know what I mean? Like I was a fan of Kanye. His first 3 albums I love.
Yeah.
Straight up, The College Dropout is one of my favorite records ever. And it almost, it like hurts to see him just deteriorate so much because he's so unlikable. His mind is completely gone. I think it's a lifetime of too many benzodiazepines. He is clearly, he's clearly unwell. The interview went on for 3 hours. Lord knows what they talk about for the whole time. I'm certainly never going to listen to the whole thing. But it's so sad to see a titan like like I said, Kanye has always been eccentric. He's always been erratic and neurotic and weird.
He had at least some interesting things to say, or at least it seemed that way. I remember.
Yeah, and he could put things together really. Kanye has some really. he was in his first record. His politics have taken a complete 180. Like family business off of The College Dropout. Basically, making pouring his heart out and confronting the emotional impact and despair that the war on drugs and mass incarceration have. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina, George Bush doesn't care about black people. These were the early elements of Kanye, and even fuck Taylor Swift. Like, who cares that he told her to get off the fucking stage? You know what I mean?
I always kind of admired that he made the whatever award show. He made it,
and they tried to vilify him and paint him as a black man monster. They totally leaned into the fucking racial tropes and stereotypes with that 1,000,000%. I remember. I think we were in 6th grade when that happened.
Oh yeah,
I think I was in Mr. Baker's class.
Yeah, no, and I remember that was something that I was down for because obviously Taylor Swift just represents the most bland, mainstream pop music or country at the time, whatever. And here comes Kanye, who's edgy, making dank beats. And obviously I wasn't really that cognizant musically at the time, but in retrospect, it was a move that I'm okay with. And it's not one. And again, it's already a shit show with a bunch of rich celebrities anyway, so might as well at least make it an entertaining one.
Yeah, exactly. Go stand for Beyonce while he's up there. You know what I mean? And to Kanye's credit, this is something that I've always said. He did try and give his award to Outkast at the BET Awards when he said that they had a better video than he did. So, game recognized game. But Kanye is a titan that, past his prime, fallen from grace in every sense of the word. And I think it's just sad. And I try not to pay attention to him at all anymore because I'm like, damn, it just makes me sad that I still really fuck with your first 3 records.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And lately I've kind of been feeling similar about Joe himself. I've never been a huge fan, but again, this was something that I was really enjoying the conversations he was facilitating for a while. I thought he was having a good range of opinions on, but it really does seem like he's kind of regressing into this just totally conservative, weird, isolated off from actual people and their struggles. I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
From last week. With Wesley Hunt, who's running in Texas, I believe, for Congress. And we can just play like a minute of it later if you want, but it's where he talks about the Green New Deal. And I think it really illustrates too how far Joe has fallen himself too. Not that he really came from far in the first place.
No, but the thing about Joe Rogan that attracted, me and I imagine you as well, it had nothing to do with the fact that, nothing to do with his like politics or even, you know, his ideas. What really I thought was great about Joe is his ability to relax his guests, to coax information out and complex information out of interesting guests who were never getting platforms, slowing it down. Hold on. How would you explain this to somebody if you were drinking a beer at a bar and being like, oh, this is what I do for a living. This is what I'm interested in. What are you passionate about? Sharing your passion that you never get to. So that was why I liked it when he had that, like, you know, the paleontologist guy on, or even when he had guys that, you know, aren't that credible, like Graham Hancock, you know, or, you know, these people who, oh yeah, like, you know, I like to smoke a joint and think about all this weird shit.
And honestly, that's why I was at one point looking forward to Kanye coming on the show, because I figured, well, if someone can get Kanye to really open up and have a good discussion, it's Joe Rogan, you know, with a glass of whiskey and maybe a blunt. Like, this is going to be a great conversation. But my main takeaway from this clip that I'm about to play, where, you know, Joe Rogan basically questions Kanye, like, why are you running for president, and what do you think you would offer this country as its leader? And I think what it reveals is just that, you know, celebrity is one hell of a drug, and Kanye West is high as fuck on it.
Yeah, let's watch.
What are you doing? You running for president? Yes. What made you decide to do that? Aren't you busy enough? Clothing company, successful rapper, family man?
It was something that God put on my heart back in 2015.
By the way, 2015 is when Donald Trump was running for president. So I think that's what God put in your heart. You realize that rich fucking assholes can win the presidency.
Hey, man. Yeah, what did I just say? Game recognized game.
A few days before the MTV Awards, it hit me in the shower. And when I first thought of it, I just started like laughing to myself. And it like all this like joy came over my body, just through my soul. And I just felt that energy. I felt that spirit. So then 2 days later, I accepted the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Awards at the MTV Awards. And instead of performing, you know, my array of hit songs, you know, I gave just my perspective on award shows. But always, I knew at the end I was going to tell people I'm running for office. I'm running for president in 2020. And, you know, just to have it even took heart to say it in that context. And people were just like, oh, like their minds were blown. And then I was hanging out with I had different friends that were, you know, some people in the music industry, some people tech elites, different things like that. And they would really, you know, they just really took it as a joke. And they're telling me all these millions of reasons why I couldn't run for president. I remember running into Oprah 2 days or 1 day after that. She's like, you don't want to be president. And, you know, people just, you know, thought projecting, putting this on you. And I remember saying, one of my responses to one of the people one of the naysayers was, well, I'll definitely be a billionaire by that time. And not that that's a reason why someone should become president, but it's to say, you know, at that time I was 50.
Let's just pause that. Let's just pause that right here, because I think that says so much about Kanye's understanding of the world.
I know. It's really,
you know, it's like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm going to be a billionaire by the time I run for president. Oh, okay. In that case, I guess you probably can get the job done. It's like, yeah, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and he's like, not that means anything, but it's like, well, then why do you?
Also, he just name dropped Oprah Winfrey. It's like, who does Kanye think to name drop Oprah?
Yeah, there's another point later where he's like, a bunch of people I know, you know, top CEOs at various companies. It's like, you just realize how like massively out of touch this dude has to be with literally any normal people. It's like the only people you're surrounding yourself with are like fucking, obviously the Kardashians, Oprah, CEOs of Spotify and fucking Adidas. Like, oh, anyway.
Oh, dude, I mean, this is a little bit of an aside, I guess. But I don't know if anybody that listens to this show actually is interested in Kanye's music at all. But during his like Summer of Good Music or whatever, where he put out the Kids See Ghosts record, and he also made the beats for Pusha T and Nas and Tiana Taylor. I watched this interview that Pusha T gave, who's the president of Good Music, which is Kanye's label that he founded. Yeah. And he was talking about what it was like making that album with Kanye, because Kanye was like, oh, we'll just split the bill for, you know, what we're doing. And like, you know, and Kanye was like trying to spend like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a day. Just like rolling up a bill, and Push was like, he was like, I was there for 10 days, and he was like trying to tell me it was $250,000, and he was like, you know, like he was like, yo, like I'm like, and he was like, you know, I got bread, but like, you know, $250,000 is $250,000, and like, you know, everybody's like, yeah, dude, like, you know, like Kanye is balling out of control at a whole nother level. Like,
it really is crazy. And again, this hasn't even been this 2 minutes. He sounds damn right sane in comparison to some of the stuff he goes on to say. This is like a case study in just the mind, the degenerating mind of a, you know, drunk on celebrity, drunk on money. That's literally what this is playing
well,
out.
I mean, it's almost like Kanye everything he ever dreamed of, right? And this is what happens.
And now he's like, I need to be president for some reason, even though he's running a fake campaign. He's only on the ballot in like red states where Trump's basically going to win anyway. So it's like, yeah, no wonder everyone was calling your presidential ambitions a fucking joke. It literally is. Anyway, there's a little bit more of this I wanted to show.
And I knew I had the confidence that I would be able to turn that around. And now, you know, just going into, I want to just give you that's a clear answer.
Right. I know what you're saying.
I don't want to go off on two of them.
No, it's okay. What you're basically saying is you know how to set goals, you know how to achieve them. But what was Oprah's rationale when she said, you don't want to be the president? Like, what was she saying? Because I remember when people were saying that's our next president. Remember when Trump got elected, you know, they showed Oprah and they were saying, like, there was, I believe it was like NBC tweeted it. This is our next president. Like a lot of people wanted Oprah to run. And they felt like if Trump could win, Oprah could win.
When I saw Trump win, I was like, see, you can win outside, you know, you can win if you're coming from outside of politics. I was young when Ronald Reagan was president. I don't remember.
But Ronald Reagan was the governor of California before he was the president. He had actually proven himself as a politician, at least somewhat.
Which is an idea that people have thrown out at me to
be governor of California?
To be governor of California.
Anyone's better than this guy. Just do.
Is this where Joe Rogan bitches about how hard it is to be rich?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, they need to open everything. Open up the company.
Bro, speaking of which, I just saw another person join that merry band of the elites that made me laugh. Gene Simmons from Kiss has been, quote unquote, singing the Beverly Hills Blues about the unreasonable tax rates. It's like everybody has ever, and this is a chain that Joe Rogan definitely set. He definitely set this train in motion when he moved to Texas and was like, oh, fuck any state that has like, you know, expensive. And then people are like, shit, if Joe Rogan can move wherever he wants, I guess I don't have to stay in California either.
I know, right? It's crazy to see. It does seem like there really is a kind of a like cultural exodus happening as far as like California being the place to be right now. I mean, maybe not, but even Hollywood seems like it's relocating to like Atlanta, kind of. So you never know.
Open things up again, man.
But I think my calling is to be. I believe that my calling is to be the leader of the free world. I mean, if
a literal like fucking Messiah complex. I mean, he obviously has that with the Sunday.
He hella has the Messiah complex. That's the best way to put it.
Dude, it's crazy.
If it's in God's plan that part of my path is to be the governor, then that's fine. But my calling is to be the leader of the free world.
So when you say this, like when you say your calling is to be the leader of the free world, what does that mean to you? Does it mean, do you have a plan that's different than the plans that have been implemented before? Does it mean that
I like how Joe's entertaining this seriously.
The plan to be the leader, like what would you do if you were the leader of the free world? Like, what would be different about the way you would handle things? Like if that's your plan, like what is it about that is your calling? Like why would you want to do that? Like what do you want to do differently if you were the leader of the free world?
Well, there's a couple questions in there. You said why is that your calling? There's people who will say to me, you know, they'll say, well, music is bigger than politics or more influential than politics, or celebrities are more influential. And I thought of it like if I was a pastor of 100,000 person church, but then I was also a captain, a sailor. And then we went to war and I said, I'm gonna man this ship that has 1,000 people, 1,000 soldiers on it because God is calling me.
Went from 100,000 to 1,000.
Take this position, even though I'm the pastor for, you know, however big my audience is,
You know,
in hip hop, in music, or as just an influencer or celebrity, or just as a dad and a husband in my house. The world is like, there couldn't be a better time to put a visionary in the captain's chair.
It hurt to hear him speak.
Before, I'm not coming here to down any of the other. I'm not here to down Trump, down Biden. I'm just here to express why.
They fucking express it. Why are you running for president? You literally did not give him a straight answer.
Hey, that's honestly that's the most effective strategy we've seen so far.
Yeah. Anyway, it pretty much kind of goes on like that. He starts rambling about like the record deals he had, and how he's like at war with the music industry, and how he's revolutionizing like the fucking music industry, and like just incomprehensible.
Didn't he tweet not too long ago that he wasn't going to make any more music until he was freed from all of his contracts?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But again, it's just like, yeah, when you're the most popular like hip hop art, one of the most popular hip hop artists, you're going to be able to use that leverage and sway in the music industry, of course, because you're a popular producer and a big name. But like, that doesn't mean you should lead the fucking free world. Like,
yeah, and I mean, to Kanye's credit, he's definitely changed lanes and gone the way of many a successful politicians. He expanded into the world of business, married into an elite American family. It seems as though he is trying. His playbook is, teeing up. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, like, California does have a tendency to elect celebrity governors. Had he initially set out with something more reasonable like that, I don't think California would have ever elected Kanye. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Ryan Eli comments and says he's glad that he found our channel. We're glad that you found it too. Welcome to the Vanguard. And that he's watched about 75%. That's a lot more than I got.
Dude,
through.
I watched the majority of what I've seen just now with Gavin. Like, yeah. Anyway.
Overall, it was just like, I mean, I thought it's just crazy. Like, I can't stop trying to gauge like what the level of seriousness with this whole president thing is with Kanye. Like, is it a total just media stunt? Because when you hear him talk, he does sound like so like sincere, and he's really like trying to like work out the answers in his mind of these questions. But then again, I'm like, you're clearly just like a fucking idiot who's trying to make money. So it's part of your.
I think it's a serious delusion. I think it's a serious delusion. I think he has, like you said, a messiah complex. So in his mind, when he's making those pauses, like he's envisioning like an orator of like, like preaching to thousands. Like he's saying like, I am spitting gospel to you all right now. Like I am a visionary. We need a visionary in the pilot's chair. That's what the people need. Like, and he doesn't like, and I think he's trying to like play it off like he's receiving the word of God a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's like searching within himself for the answers. It's, I don't know. Like I said, California is the wrong place to run that shtick. So he'd need to move to like Louisiana or like, something like that.
Yeah.
Although I think you would have a tough time running as a black man in Louisiana for governor.
Somewhere with a, less of a liberal population, I guess, because I feel like he's really tied himself too much.
Wyoming. He built that ranch there. He has a residence in Wyoming.
There you go. He can start there. But yeah, can you imagine Kanye actually as governor when after people stop caring about the publicity of it, then he just is like, oh shit, I have to actually do stuff. Like, and that's pretty much what Trump's presidency has been too. Like, just how do I make the most of this as a media appearance while doing the extreme least as possible when it comes to actual like substance. And that's the other thing. It's like this interview reminded me of how like every time Kanye goes out there to open his mouth or say anything about his presidential ambitions or about politics in general, like he's incomprehensible. He has no like clear defining philosophy other than narcissism and I guess Jesus now.
But like if you took Donald Trump and Joe Biden and mushed them together, it's like a narcissist that can't get his thoughts out, and
who just falls back on religion seemingly whenever he can't. Kanye's answer for the lack of good things happening, or the lack of vision, I guess, in the direction in our country, is just fill it in with Jesus, like the tried and true. You know, is that ever worked? No. Like we've been
well, no, I mean, it's worked to get people elected a lot of times.
That's true.
So I think that's his only real goal, right? Like,
yeah,
I think he really is an egotist who, you know, maybe, you know what? I think he probably has been able to delude himself into believing that, you know, he is a vehicle of God's like mission, and that I mean, I think once you've been able to acquire that much wealth and that level of status and power, I mean, from honestly what are really humble beginnings for a guy like Kanye, let's be real. I mean, it wasn't like he inherited all of this. It was his skill and ambition and drive. I mean, you know, I don't want to debate meritocracy right now. Obviously, that had, you know, luck and fortune and okay. But what I'm saying is this wasn't a guy that inherited his wealth. So you likely start to convince yourself that you are getting this because you're better, right? Yep. Oh, why else would I of all of these people be doing? And then it kind of feeds that ego. And when you already have like a massive ego with a ravenous hunger like Kanye, something else needs to feed that. And when you see a guy like Donald Trump, you're like, okay, I'm already a billionaire. What else is there for me to achieve? And you have this insatiable appetite for success and validation through, you know, it's like Kanye has an Ozymandias problem. You know, look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. That is Kanye, right? But he doesn't understand that, you know, it's all going to be reduced to rubble in the end, or however the fuck that poem ends.